Thanks for joining me here in our test kitchen above Frontera Grill in Topolobampo and Choco. I just wanted to invite everybody to hang out with me and cook something delicious, maybe something that you want to try yourself. So today it's going to be a chicken dish, chicken in escabeche. Maybe you visited the Yucatan Peninsula and you've had this wonderful dish that's sort of tangy and spicy and filled with all kinds of herbs and spices. We're going to make a simple version of it. We're going to start with chicken breasts. A lot of you I know probably buy boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Now you can make this with chicken thighs if you want skin on or skin off. I'll talk a little bit about what the changes would be, but I'm going to go through it today with boneless, skinless chicken breasts because that's my guess what most of you will be working with. When you buy these chicken breasts these days, they will oftentimes come with what we call the little fillet here, or the tenderloin attached to them. So the first step is that we kind of want to get those out of the way. So I'm going to cut them out like that. Now, to tell you the truth, because most of the chicken breasts these days are so enormous, that I save these for a stir fry or to poach and mix with some mayonnaise to make a chicken salad sandwich. We don't really need more meat than what we've got in front of us here. And to tell you the truth, they're big and they're awkward to cook because we have a really thick spot here and then we have a very narrow spot down in here. So you have two options. One is that you can sort of do a butterfly on that if you want it to cook evenly. I brought my meat pounder here just to show you how easy you can knock over different dishes when you don't set yourself up right here. I'm going to do this a little more gently. I like it when those kinds of things happen. Okay, so now I've made that about the same thickness all the way over, and it doesn't take much pressure at all. Just flatten it a little bit like that. And then I've got two more of them to do here. I like to do it from this back side because the musculature of the chicken breast will flatten more easily. So that's a very simple little task there. Now I'm going to start cooking them here. I'm going to set this over here, and at this point here, I'm going to set those to the side there. We've got our 4 chicken breasts, and now I'm going to take all of this over to the sink and wash my hands. Because to tell you the truth, when you're working with chicken, you want to clean everything, including your hands. I'm sure you guys are washing your hands a lot more than you used to. I certainly know that I am. And we're going to go at that 20 seconds here. Just really clean your hands. This is just good sanitation procedure in any kitchen at all when you're working with meat. And now I'm going to wash my knife really well because I'm going to use it to cut up vegetables here in a minute. So we've got all of that, and now we'll go back over here to our cutting board. I've got my handy dandy 12-inch cast iron skillet on the heat. I'm going to do exactly what I did yesterday when we were all cooking together, and I'm going to put olive oil to film the bottom of it. You can see that it's hot. And I'm going to lay these guys into the pan. Turn it down just a little bit there. And we'll fit 4 beautiful portions will fit in this pan very easily there. Now let's get this out of the way. I always work with one of these flexible cutting boards when I'm working with meat, because that gives me the opportunity to get it out of there and take it to the sink and wash it very easily. Let's talk spices. This is what makes this dish so incredibly wonderful. We'll start with black pepper. And as I said to you yesterday about cumin, freshly ground spices like black pepper are infinitely better. Now I'm going to put some allspice in here. I got about a teaspoon of the black peppercorns and about a half a teaspoon of allspice. I don't know if you've got allspice in your cabinet. I know I certainly do because I love this stuff. I think it sort of has a little bit of a kind of cinnamony flavor, a little bit of a cloves flavor, a little bit of a black pepper flavor. We're going to add some of the Mexican whole wheat oregano to that. And then use the pestle to grind everything into a kind of coarse ground mixture here. So it doesn't take very long at all to do this if you have a heavy-duty mortar. Now, I'm always suggesting to everybody that they buy these Mexican molcajetes that are made of the basalt, because they're heavy enough that they don't move around on your countertop very much. And then I'm going to use a little brush. Yesterday I didn't have my brush there, but I'm going to use my brush to brush it all into this small bowl that's got a teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to sprinkle this mixture very nicely over the chicken. It's a really lovely smell to this already. The Mexican oregano, freshly ground black pepper, and allspice. See how beautiful that stuff is? Now I'm going to put the other half of our spice mixture over this part of the chicken, and we're going to be very close to ready to take these out of the pan. Now I'm using all of this spice mixture here because this dish is typically quite spicy, but I don't mean spicy as in spicy hot, but I mean spicy with all the black pepper and the allspice and the oregano. So you can see everything is pretty well coated there. Okay, now I'm going to grab a plate to put my chicken on. Now that it's nicely browned, well, I'm going to leave it in there for just a second longer while I prepare the onion. So I take a large onion here. This is a white onion, and I'm going to slice it about 1/4 of an inch thick all the way down here. The other half of it as well, and that's going to go into this pan. When we talk about this escabeche, people are always asking me the questions like, well, what is it like? What can I liken it to? And I always tell them that it's a little bit like a caramelized onion brothy vinaigrette. And so you'll see as we build this here in the pan that that's exactly what we're going to be getting here. So the chicken will now come out of the pan. It's about 3/4 done. I can touch it and feel that it's not completely done, but it's getting close to completely done. I need enough oil in this pan to do a nice job of caramelizing these onions. So I'm going to put them in there. And we'll get that started. I'm going to go up a little higher right now in my temperature here. And I'm going to do that sort of what I call fast caramelization, where the onions get browned on the outside, but they're still nice and crunchy on the inside. So we'll get that part of that started there. And while we're doing that, let's cut up some carrots. Carrots are a typical part of this dish, because when you make pickled jalapenos, which is what our spice is going to be, oftentimes you pickle them with onions, garlic, and carrots. Maybe you've opened a can of pickled jalapenos and seen that those are the 3 things besides the jalapenos you find in there. Now, I am not, honestly, much of a carrot peeler. If you are, then I suggest that you peel the carrots. I scrubbed these carrots, but just I keep a little brush in the side of the sink where I have a drainer, and I use that for doing my scrubbing of the vegetables. And now I'm cutting these on a bias. Now the reason we cut them on the bias is pure aesthetics. You could do them straight across in little rounds, but they look really beautiful if they're in ovals. So I'm just cutting across these, and I'm going to throw them now in with the onions to start cooking those guys. We'll mix all of that up because we should start already seeing some beautiful browning going on there. And it's also the spices and herbs that were on the bottom of the pan there when we had the chicken frying in there. Come up and joined in with the onions. I'll tell you, right now this smells so incredibly good. The searing of the chicken breast is one thing. That's just really, really delicious. But boy, when you smell these onions start to cook, there's absolutely nothing better than the aroma of sauteing onions. And we have another ingredient that's going to go into this mixture here, and that is garlic, which yesterday I left out of the recipe that I made with you guys, sort of typical in my fashion, that at the very end I see one ingredient sitting on the cutting board that I never put in there. That garlic would have gone in with the onions. But I'm going to cut these, I'm going to cut the root end off so that I can peel them. Yesterday I mashed them to get this papery skin off the outside of it. I mashed them because I was going to do a mince on it. But if you're going to want slices like I want today, then you just simply cut that root end off like that, and then just keep peeling it all the way around until you get all of the papery skin off of it. This one is kind of sticky here, but you can get it off if you just are persistent. There we go with that one. Get all of this stuff over and out of the way. And then we got the big one. Now usually I would put about 4 cloves of garlic in this, but in this one I'm going to put only 3 because they are enormous cloves of garlic. So I usually think of an average sized garlic clove as being a little smaller than this, but this is what I got when I got to the grocery store. Okay, so I've got these guys peeled now, and I'm going to slice them up. Let's give this a little stir that's over here in the pan. It's really caramelizing nicely now. Those carrots are starting to soften. I can feel them a little softer when I touch them with my tongs. Get that over there. And then I'm going to make slices of the garlic that are going to go into the pan about now. So you see what those look like. That's going to give us a little bit more presence of the garlic in here. And I think it looks really beautiful in this really rustic kind of dish. Lay it down now and go across. There again, you want to take out the green part that is beginning to, look at that. The green part is beginning to sprout a little bit. If that upsets your stomach, then please take it out. Man, this is looking really, really good. Okay, well, this is finishing up, and now we should start to get that incredible aroma of the garlic just filling the kitchen. Besides the wonder of the caramelized onions, you'll have that gorgeous garlic added to it all. Okay, so let's talk about the other ingredients that are going to go in. I've got some chicken broth. Yesterday I said you could use water in the recipe that I was making, and you could. It would be absolutely fine. But today you need some chicken broth to do this, to make this really wonderful sauce, because as I described it, it's sort of like a caramelized, brothy caramelized onion vinaigrette. So we've got to add, we've got oil in the pan, a lot of olive oil here, and all of this is cooking in. We've got to add the vinegar part to it. So you've got a couple of choices here. You've got, I have two different things here. One is apple cider vinegar, which is very common in Mexico. Maybe you only have distilled white vinegar in your pantry. That would work here. It's a little, not as elegant in its balance, but it would certainly work. You could make it with that. A lot of you probably do have apple cider vinegar. I love this brand of the one that is unfiltered and it's raw, meaning that it hasn't been pasteurized. I love the flavor of it, and I love the fact that it's unpasteurized. And if we want something that's very light, then I brought this from the restaurant downstairs. This is rice wine vinegar, which is actually what I prefer in this recipe. But I was very, I was very ambitious when I started pounding those chicken breasts earlier, and so I knocked this thing off, and I knocked half of the rice wine vinegar on the countertop here. So we're going to add that vinegar to it there. We're going to add the cup of chicken broth to it. Now everything is really smelling great here. And the last ingredient that we have to put in here is the pickled jalapenos. So usually you would buy these in a can in your grocery store. We make our own here in the restaurant, so I just took a few of them out of the... Now there's a couple different ways that you can approach this. One is to cut them open and take the seed pod and the seeds out of it, like that. This will give you a really beautiful and refined presentation. You just want to get rid of all those seeds and seed pods there. If you're going to do it this way, I would suggest that you cut them in half lengthwise, and then make little strips like that. Do another one over here. And then I'll show you another approach to it, which is equally acceptable. I'll throw these guys into this delicious looking mixture here. Now I'm going to turn down the fire so that it just simmers away. The other way that we could handle this is simply to cut across like little rings. And this is equally acceptable, but it will have the seeds in it. Now, once you have pickled jalapenos, they are a uniform heat all the way through. So don't delude yourself by thinking that you could take the seeds out of them and it'll be a lot less hot. It won't be at all. So you choose your style here. I put 2 large jalapenos in here, but you could put more or less to suit your own taste. Then we will take these chicken breasts and nestle them down into the pan here, like that. I'm going to spoon some of the mixture up and over them, just like that. It looks beautiful. Okay. Let this simmer for a couple more minutes here. Just low heat. Simmer it until the chicken breasts have rewarmed and fully cooked. Remember, I said they were about 3/4 done. So let them just simmer gently here for another 3 or 4 minutes, and you're ready to enjoy this delicious pot of chicken in escabeche, Yucatan style. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today, and I'll see you all again soon.